Welcome again to Let's Talk Science with Pastor Dan. I mentioned before that I'm going to tell two additional stories of people from the Christmas pageant. And again, my mother-in-law, when I tell her these things, it bothers because they're hard. They're not always encouraging, but I believe they're accurate. In Luke 11, verse 51, Jesus said, "From the blood of innocent Abel to the blood of innocent Zachariah." And there are some commentaries, some people believe that they're talking about the Zachariah from the time of Joash, I believe, who was sacrificed in the temple. That's found in Chronicles. I could have gotten the king wrong. I apologize if I did. But when I read the scripture, that context from Abel, which is the beginning of time, until Zachariah, which would be maybe 100, 200 years time of Jesus. I mean, there's nobody righteous from that time forward. So I really think that it needs to be a Zachariah that's closer to the time of Jesus. Was there a Zachariah closer to the time of Jesus? Well, there is another family in the Bible that we hadn't mentioned before. That's Elizabeth and Zachariah, the parents of John the Baptist. And they had waited all their life for a child, and God had shut up Zachariah's mouth, and that's when they could have a kid. So who knows? Maybe that's the clue to having a child. But I have heard some accounts, and this may not be accurate, but it does fit with the context that innocent Zachariah was the Zachariah of John the Baptist. You see, remember Herod had ordered all the children 2 years and younger to be killed. And that would put John in that situation. And so Herod, not wanting to take any chances, would have tried to take out John too, just in case he was the Messiah, he was the king. And Zechariah, being a godly man, protected his son, and many accounts say that possibility that he was killed in the temple by Herod's men. Now, what is God speaking to me about that? We live, unfortunately, today in a society where many people, many young men, don't have fathers. And I'm sorry about that. I really am. God doesn't intend it to be that way. God made a man leave his mother and father, and be cleaved to his wife, and the two should become one flesh. So a husband and a father is the best way for a child to be raised. I'm sorry, don't want to offend anybody, but that way you have both aspects of the characters that God presents. Unfortunately, we have many children to be raised without. And I think part of the reason we are seeing such a huge influx of crime and violence in many communities is because there aren't the fathers there. I remember hearing a story of a bunch of juvenile elephants that were just goring animals, goring rhinos because they could. And they had to bring in an older bull male to become the new alpha in the herd and bring these young bucks under control. But if we look at the life of John, we see that God still had his hand upon John. I believe that's why he was in the wilderness, and that's why he came out of the wilderness, because his mother had taken him there to hide him from people that would have wanted him evil. So God spoke to them. So if you find yourself in this situation, take heart. God calls himself the Father to the fatherless. God will be there for you. And if you commit yourself to him, he will not leave you. He will raise you up, and he will make you. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be the way it's supposed to be. But God will use all the situations. All things work together for good. That's a hard scripture. But he'll use it. He'll bless you. And take heart. Again, I'm sorry that happened. But the truth is, God can make godly men, godly children and women, even without the presence of the Father, because the Father of heaven, if you allow him to, will be Lord in your life, and he will direct your way. So I want to speak encouragement if you find yourself in a situation like John, possibly without his father, that God will be there for you, that God will be the one who will protect and keep you. So hopefully not too bad. Take care. God bless. Bye.